Hi everyone. I want to wish you a happy new year and take off these glasses because the reflection is driving me crazy with the ring light, but a necessary evil to make you be able to see all this fun stuff. So I want to check in with you also to see what your New Year's resolutions are, if you have any, or non-resolutions, because there are some people who are very resolute not to have resolutions, because by this age, maybe you've had some opportunity to break a few or just not do them. And I just want to tell you that is really okay. As for me, all of this is about showing that vegans get enough protein and enough energy. And where we finished the year, or I should say the last 18 years, is this was my last 5K of the year before I called it New Year's Eve. This was the resolution run. I got only second place, but it was my 311th time placing in my age group since 2006, just on plants. And I also finished out the year, just to give you some inspiration, I won the dirty timing. Let's see if we can get this up there without all those ring light reflections, but this is just a beautiful piece of, I would say woodwork, but I don't think it's wood, whatever they make it out of, a really heavy poster board or something. Dirty Timing is our local running company that does all the timing for so many of these races, and run by a couple who the wife runs, and the way she describes it is, my husband started this company to keep up with me. Unfortunately, she's had cancer, so they are not doing the running series next year. That was the latest I heard. So it was really special to be able to win this. And basically what it meant was I won my age group. A couple of years ago, I actually won the whole racing series. I had more points than anybody else. But they made that plaque. They also did this little, if you can see it, keychain thing. And the main thing it says in there, the big takeaway, is it says I run with my heart. And that is just so true. For so many runners, we all have our causes. For me, Mom and Post sisters had breast cancer. I'm the only adult female in my family without it. And all of my life, all of my running years, I have been, people ask me, what are you running from? And I go, disease, running away from disease, or at least that's the hope, to the extent we can control it. I will say that as of January 1st, that is the day that I choose to pick as my running anniversary. So this year it became my 45th year of running as of New Year's Day. And I started running, it's easy to remember, in 1980. That was the year that I moved back from Miami, where I was a TV reporter, and moved back to St. Louis, my hometown, where my family was. My parents were getting older. I had older sisters at the time, and I just wanted to be closer to my family. Miami was starting to get a little, I loved it there, and I won a couple Emmys for my stories that I did, and it was just getting to be a little crazy and intense. And so the Midwestern girl ran back home. And I look back on that as, an very interesting time. I tried to run while I was in Miami, and quite frankly, they didn't have hardly any parks at the time, especially that were runner friendly, no soft trails. You had to run on streets, basically. And it was pretty dangerous. So I tried running on the beach. It's always been my most favorite place to run in the whole wide world. But in Miami, the sand was much more coarse than it is on the southwest coast where I am now. And the beaches were much more sloped. So, you're kind of running with your hips off to one side. And even if you do an out and back where you reverse it on the way back, it still can be pretty challenging on the hips, knees, and ankles. So those are the kinds of things. After 45 years of running, I am still standing and still running without too many injuries along the way, and certainly none that have derailed my running career. It's always been, the way I look at it, it's forced fitness, it's forced activity. And because you can burn twice as many calories in the same amount of time running compared to walking, as soon as I could make the transition from walking to running, more as a daily activity at the time, although not so much now, I did that. And people do ask me, how often do you run now? And interestingly enough, the last three races that I've done, I didn't do any running in between the races. I only ran at the races. And so that was like a week apart for those few races that were kind of grouped together toward the end of the year. And I just said to myself, I'm not going to push it. I'm just going to do what I can do. And the race before the one I did this weekend, I actually came in first in my age group. So, I kind of joke, winning my age group now is just about showing up. I mean, it's not completely that, but I do kind of kick back a little bit and just say, okay, whatever happens, we're just going to get through this. The whole, as I wrote in my 4th vegan fitness book, Vegan Fitness Without Injury, or Vegan Fitness for Mortals, my whole thing was finish without injury. You got to finish without injury, and that is always the goal. And Pumpkin apparently agrees. I fed you, so what are you telling me? This is Pumpkin, who is just an amazing kitty cat, but likes to let me know when he is hungry. We have a she dog, so sometimes we get the genders mixed up. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you made resolutions over the years? How have they gone for you? Do they work? Just let me know, and maybe we can have a little conversation about how you stick to the plan. The one thing I have really noticed, especially in my latest job, is that it's so important to keep the clutter that you have at a minimum. I know this is a huge thing for a lot of people, and the one thing I noticed that has been cluttering up has been the amount of cords and just, things electronics that I don't need. And where I work, they have a great recycling program, which is amazing, but especially since making the transition from Lightning adapters to USB-C, which is the latest, greatest, fastest way of charging devices now. But that means that since the iPhone 15, 2 phones ago, now everything has been converted to USB-C. So getting rid of all the cords that are dangling around the bed and around the office and the back room and wherever you have your devices, that has been kind of a thing that I'm on a tear to do. So that's my resolution, is to declutter as much as I can, and just opening your eyes and saying, okay, what if somebody were coming to look at this house as if it were for sale? Would you want them seeing all this stuff? So there are lots of places you can donate, although in our area, I've actually found that places don't want so much of the donations anymore, just with a couple of organizations I've been working with, because they say that it is, they have too much stuff from all the hurricanes that we have. People are donating stuff that either the hurricane almost got to, and they just don't have enough demand. That people maybe are not staying here after all these storms. So it's going to be an interesting year for sure. With my background, I still have my real estate license, although my passion has always been helping people improve their health in whatever form or fashion that looks like. So I encourage you to make long-term goals if you haven't. If you haven't, time is running out, or just short-term goals. Long-term can be like helping others. The short-term can be decluttering, just to kind of put it into perspective. Coming up with a health plan that makes sense, just listen to your body, and that's really the best guidance I can give in terms of if you're making those resolutions for health and fitness. Listen to all parts of your body, because your body is really talking to you. I recently gave up coffee, and then when I went back to work in my part-time job right now, I'm back to drinking it because Starbucks is in the mall. And also we went to Costa Rica, and I learned tons of stuff about coffee then. So I'm not thinking it's the bad baby that it has been. Although I noticed that I get certain symptoms that are kind of red flags for me, like stomach cramps, for example, to maybe back off as much as I might want to drink. So just listen to your body. All the cues are there, and let me know below how it's going for you, just a little early in the new year here, with coming up with or sticking to those resolutions. All right, everyone, Happy New Year. I hope it's a great, happy and healthy year for you, and we'll see you in the next one.